When buying a headlamp, flashlight, or lantern, each one will list a specific lumens measurement to let you know how bright each one is. However, that does not tell you the full story. So with today's headlamp review, I will also go into how I will be testing lighting sources for the future so that you can get a better understanding of how well they work for you. My name is Chris, and this is Gear Cache. So the problem with lumens is that lumens only tell you the actual light output from a specific source, and that's it. However, lumens does not tell you anything about the direction that light is emitted from the source. For example, the Maglite Mini Mag is a flashlight that can emit light in a direction, but also can have the top screwed off in a sort of candle mode. The light source is the same regardless of which way you use it, and therefore puts out the same lumens. However, in flashlight mode, I can get a much more narrow beam and therefore see much further than I can when in candle mode. For this reason, I decided that for my next headlamp, I wanted to review more than just how bright it is, but rather give some sort of estimation of how usable the headlamp is at certain distances. So, I developed the following test. I bought a lux meter so I can measure how much light is hitting a specific target. Then I set the headlamp up 10, 20, and 30 feet away from the meter and measured how much light is hitting the meter from these distances. With that, you can get a rough idea of how far ahead of you can see using this headlamp, and therefore how usable it will be while, say, hiking on a trail or around the campsite. Secondly, I measured at 10 feet away how wide the beam of this headlamp is to give you an understanding of how much peripheral light you will be given when using it. Now before I dive into the results, let me explain a little bit more about the headlamp I was using for this test. This was the Lighting Ever headlamp that I was purchased off Amazon, and it is one of the cheaper headlamps out there with over 6,000 reviews, so heavily tested, heavily used by other people, and overall a 4-star rating, which isn't bad. And I wanted to see how a cheaper headlamp would compare against other products, which will be my future videos to come. So, overall impressions of this headlamp, it is on the cheaper side. I mean, $8 only gets you so far. It claims it's waterproof, although I wouldn't really trust it, especially if you're out hiking and camping and you need a light source. This isn't going to be the first thing I would turn to. But for working around the house, say working on a car in the garage, or having a backup emergency light, this is a decent little headlamp that you could buy to have around the house just in case. Now, on to the measurements. How much light does this headlamp actually produce? So at 10 feet away, this headlamp measured about 27.5 lux. At 20 feet away, this was reduced down to 8.5 lux, and at 30 feet away, this was down to 5 lux. As you can see, the decline in measurement is not linear. It does drop off rather quickly and then slowly go down from there. And again, as I review future headlamps, you'll be able to get an understanding of how each one compares to each other using this same system to get an idea of which one is truly brighter than the other. Now for comparison, I've gone ahead and used the same system to review the Lighthouse Mini, a lantern that I reviewed. You can see that up here. And you can see how these two stack here on your screen. So the Lighthouse Mini produces a lot more lumens. It comes in at well over 200 lumens as opposed to the 80 that this lantern produces. But as you can see with the results on your screen, the Lighthouse Mini does not simply outperform the headlamp that I reviewed, since the Lighthouse Mini's beam is much more spread out, covering a much wider area, and therefore losing light much quicker. So in conclusion, this headlamp is okay. I mean, around the house it's actually really great, and it's definitely a nice budget headlamp, but I really wouldn't take it outdoors the way they've kind of marketed it on their website. And again, for future videos, I will be using that same lighting system to measure how each headlamp or lantern or flashlight compares against each other so that you have a better understanding of how much light you'll actually be able to use. Well, that's it for this video, guys. If you liked it, hit that like button, get subscribed so you don't miss any future videos. If you have any suggestions for future content, leave them in the comments below, and stay tuned next week for the next giveaway. We'll see you next time.